Hey guys, Flip Otaku, back with a manga review, and today I'm doing something that I truly love. A series that I don't think gets enough praise. It's one of the better ongoing shonens right now, and there's a lot of good ongoing shonens right now. You know, we got I'm like looking at my shelf right now. We got Promised Neverland, My Hero Academia, Doctor Stone, Demon Slayer is okay, but we have a lot of awesome shonen, and this is something that I think just gets left over, just gets left to the pile and not spoken enough about, and that is Fire Force by Asushi Okubo, who is most famous for his work on Soul Eater. Now, if you like Soul Eater, you're gonna love this, but I do think so far this is on par or even better than his previous work. So what Soul Eater was known for was its character designs, its action sequences, and its world building, and all of that is is here. I think the world building is better. Like right off the bat, very first volume, the world feels very lived in. There's a lot of interaction with just the common folk in this world, and I really like that because you really see things through their point of view. And the big conflict that's happening in this world is that people just spontaneously combust and they become these things called infernals. And infernals basically are like demons. Once somebody becomes one, they start attacking, they can burn things down. And there are firefighters in the world who put out normal fires, but the fire force puts out these creatures. They lay them to rest. And in this world, there are three levels of fire users. We got people who just become infernals. We have Generation 2s who can control fire, but they can't create fire. And then Generation 3 who can create and control their own fires. And our main character, Shinra, is a Generation 3. His power is known as the Devil's Footprint. And what he can do is he can control fire with his feet. So he can like levitate with the flames. He can almost fly a little bit. He can spin. His kicks are very devastating. And another character, for instance, Hinawa, or Lieutenant Hinawa, he can only control... He's a second generation, so he can only control the flame. So his power that he focuses on is that when he shoots a gun, he can control where the bullet goes because of that burst of fire. He can keep that fire there and control where the bullet goes. There's also another character named Obi, who is the captain of Fire Force 8. So in this world, there are 8 different fire forces, and each of them have their own captain, lieutenant, and grunts. And Obi has no power at all. And he's the most badass and most brave of this group, of anybody in this manga series, actually. I wish Obi was the main character. He is so awesome. He's a very gentle person for being such a hardened soldier. He was in the military, and he noticed how one of the Fire Force groups was being very cruel to the people, because when you lose someone that you love, and you see someone that, like someone that you care about just become a monster, pretty much, you try to grab on to something, or the people in this book do. They try to grab on to something, and that's where religion comes in. The world building is amazing. I think a part of that is because it really shows the sadness that people go through. Some people lose people in this series, and they just are like, they're dead, they're gone, I'm never gonna see them again. Some people who are very religious grab on and like, no, I'm gonna see them again. I'm gonna see them in the afterlife. And Fire Force 8 tries to accommodate people and make them feel as good as you possibly can about someone that you love just spontaneously combusting. So in this world, there are, like I said, 8 Fire Force group members. Each of them has a different section of Tokyo, and Fire Force 8 at the beginning is actually investigating all the other Fire Force groups because of a mystery that I'm not going to spoil, but it's pretty awesome. So the first volume, Shinra is our main character, and we get his backstory, we get him joining the Fire Force 8, and we get a little bit of a tournament arc all in one go. But what it does is that it turns that tournament arc into a mystery. So the tournament gets canceled, and then you get this awesome. Like I was like, okay, cool, fire, you know, a fire based tournament arc. I would love to see that. And then when it doesn't happen, I was actually like, okay, this is doing something different. It's doing something interesting. Even though I would have loved a tournament arc. Every power in the series is fire based. And at first going into it, I was like, how many fire based abilities can there possibly be? But Okubo is so creative, and as you've seen with, you know, his previous series, he's so creative. Every character has a unique enough ability, and there's characters in here, like I said, like Captain Obi, and then also there is Iris. Iris is a member of the Whole Soul Temple, which is like basically like the Catholic Church of this world. And she's there to say a prayer for the people who are passing. And then Arthur, who is right here, his ability is he can create plasma. And plasma is fire that's so hot that he can actually hold it into this hilt right there, and he makes a sword out of it, which is badass. And he can also like weld too, and weld and do other things. And so his whole character, like that's the other thing I love about this series, is that what you think is gimmicky and silly, like Arthur, he starts off super kind of dumb. He thinks he's a member of Knights of the Round. He thinks he's a knight. He acts like a nobleman, and he always has a hood up. Something happens later on that I don't want to spoil that justifies everything about his character, and it blew me away. It made me go, whoa, like holy crap, what? And it was so awesome, and it's such a huge payoff. Like when these characters that you get invested in, because I do care about these characters. You know, I love My Hero Academia, but there are so many characters. Like the main cast is basically the whole class. You know, like the main cast of characters is the whole class. You know, you're focusing on in Fire Force 8. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. 6 people that you care about, and then as they go on and investigate different fire forces, you meet other people, but you're always focusing on the 6. And the 6 people, you can tell, have a huge and tight bond with each other. And that's something else that I really loved, is that while at times gimmicky, and I'm saying gimmicky, but I don't mean it in a negative way, because you could say like My Hero Academia is gimmicky, you could say Demon Slayer is gimmicky, but it's a shonen, so you can only expect so much from the genre, and that's not a bad thing. If you enjoy shonen, you're gonna absolutely love this. And even if you don't enjoy shonen and you want something different that's not your typical shonen, pick this up because it does stuff that is completely outside of the normal shonen Jump wheelhouse. Now, I will give you guys a little bit of a warning. There are a little bit risque parts that are kind of like ridiculous. The humor at the very beginning is very hit or miss with me, but later on it definitely grew on me. As I've mentioned in my previous videos, that stuff is kind of to me. But the artwork and the action scenes are just some of the best, period. Some of the best action scenes in any shonen that I've read recently. And every book has a fight, whether it be big or small. There's always something going on that you have to worry about. And each Fire Force has their own character, like their own unique look to them, so you can kind of pick them out. Some of them are like very laid back, some of them are into like leather and latex, and others are like dressed up like knights. It's really badass. Here, I'll give you a little bit of artwork here. Here's Hinawa, who I was explaining, who has the guns. Very awesome. See if I can find Captain Obi, because Obi, here's Sister Iris. She's very wholesome, very awesome character. Here's the whole Fire Force 8. Obi's in the middle right there. He can't really tell. He's kind of lost in the gutter lost right there. But anyways, guys, if you want something different, you want something that's not that's not widely talked about, it's got to be doing somewhat well, right? I mean, Kodansha's put out 13 volumes. So I hope they keep putting them out. I know that, Kodansha they do have some of the big series, but they were threatening to cancel Vinland Saga for a couple of years. So hopefully this has got to be doing good enough for them. But anyways, guys, pick up Fire Force. It's not your typical shonen. It's a lot of fun, and it's written by a mangaka who has written one of the best, I would say top 10 shonen of all time, and that is Soul Eater. So if you loved Soul Eater and you didn't know that this existed, pick it up. And if you are bored of, My Hero Academia, and, I don't know how you could be bored of The Promised Neverland. That series is getting so good. But if you want something different, something new, pick up Fire Force. I guarantee you will find something that you like. But I will say, give it 3 volumes. I'm going to be doing some manga first impressions very soon. And the one thing I'm going to say about my first impressions is that I want to give series 3 volumes before I give my first impressions. Because like Fire Force, the first volume was pretty hit or miss, and then it just got progressively better. And the same can be said with Twin Star Exorcist. Did not like the series until about volume 3. So pick this up, check it out. And this is also getting an anime this year, produced by David Production, I believe, who does JoJo Bizarre Adventure. And while I like David Production, JoJo's isn't the best animated thing out there, and the action in this is so fluid, and the characters move so smoothly that I'm a little worried, because JoJo's animation is kind of rugged. But I have faith. I'm very much looking forward to that, and I'm very much looking forward to hopefully the series ending somewhat soon. Hopefully it's not a terribly long series. Soul Eater was 25 volumes. I'm looking down at it right now. If you see me looking on this over here, as I'm looking at manga on my shelf. Soul Eater was 25 volumes, which isn't terribly long. I think that's a perfectly sized. Kenshin was 28. Slam Dunk was 31. So, it's right. It's right around there. It's good. We're getting volume 17 this year, at least so far. And I think 17 comes out in August. So between now and August, we get 3 volumes. So I'm very much looking forward to it. I love this series. I love the characters, love the world, and it gets my highest recommendation. If I were to give this out of a scale of 10, I would give it an 8.5. It's really good, and it only gets better from here. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe. Leave me a comment. I try to talk to people in the comments as much as possible, so thank you guys very much. Have a good one.